who are born and brought up in a very, very...
Well, I understood the question. We'll deal it with later on. Now is the time to hand it over for the next. Okay? Sejal? Sejal, please.
Okay, to begin, we're going to have Shayla Mulji also welcome our next keynote speaker.
Good afternoon. Is it afternoon? Oh, almost. Appreciate all your patience. I know everyone's been sitting here for a while, and we've had some amazing speakers. Dr. Mehta, Shailesh and also Deepak Anandji. Really enjoyed their presentations. Peter Sammarco is a friend. We met about 5 years ago, and he comes from Vancouver. He's come all the way from there, especially for our seminar today, for all of you. He is a writer. He's also done a lot of other things in his life, but I'm going to let him introduce himself in the way that he feels appropriate. But he's a friend and an author, and he has a passion for connecting with people, understanding human values, human behavior, and really living a life that's full of joy and peace, harmony. Peter?
So, how are you guys all feeling today? Good. Now you ate a little something, didn't you? Okay, good. So what I want you to do, just for a moment, because here we're talking about some of the most fundamental, important aspects of inner qualities, the inside out. So I want you to just take a minute for about 30 seconds and close your eyes, just for 30 seconds. Make sure you breathe and exhale as much as you can. So, we must take time to listen from within. You need not even listen, just feel. Know you are God, and you can do anything and everything. Listen and know thyself completely. We are unique, and we need to find and search that purpose that is awaiting inside of all of us. We need not even search. Just listen. We need not even listen, just find. We need not even find, just know. For we already have everything within us. It is within each of us, the uniqueness to create miracles. Our feelings, thoughts, and words are our prayers. So select your thoughts carefully. Believe in yourself and know yourself. For in doing so, you know the Spirit that resides in each one of us. Okay. So I'm going to start with a little joke. You ready for a joke?
Yes.
Okay, good. Grandfather was, he's about, not mine, he was about, actually 96 to be exact, and was asked by this wonderful, wonderful lady, says, Grandpa, What do you think about sex before marriage? So he looked at her and scratched his head. He said, well, as long as it doesn't interfere with the ceremony. The point being is this. He's living in the here and now. There's no judgment. The minute we take a moment to judge someone, we leave no room to love them. What is the opposite of love? Anyone? Hate. If you've written Jampolsky's book, one of the references, he actually makes it very clear also, and in the Course of Miracles as well, that the opposite of love is not actually hate, it's fear. Fear. Amazingly, we don't seem to realize that sometimes we are demobilized from our own fears. So do we really think and listen to our own thoughts? Are we really our own best friend? Because when we judge ourselves, we're also realizing that we're not loving ourselves. So when we judge others, we also don't leave any room to love them, but we also, by judging them, how can we really love ourselves if we're choosing to make judgments of others? Now, we're all making judgments. I'll give you an example of discernment. Now, I like this apple versus an orange. I like apples. That doesn't mean that I'm making a judgment that one's better than the other. I just prefer one fruit over another, right? But guess what? They're still from the same category. They're still a fruit. So when we're aware of that process, we also need to understand how we start to gain our understanding of consciousness. Does anyone know the difference between conscience and consciousness? There is. That's right. But pardon me?
There is a lot of difference.
Exactly. So some people confuse the two. Conscience is knowing between right and wrong. Consciousness, well, think of it this way. Let's take the analogy of a mountain. You're going to a mountain. Now, in what direction would you like to go through the mountain? And how will you explain to me the image of the mountain? And my first question will be, from where? The east? The west? The north? The south? You're going to get a different angle of those mountains. Now, once you reach the top, you have a clearer view. But being aware of that takes time to decide, which way am I going to climb? And in the climbing, if you start climbing, isn't there a point where you might even go down and fall or take a break? Now, does that mean you're right down back to the bottom of the plateau? No. You're already going up to the top of the mountain. So, in the 3 books that I talk about, the body, mind, and soul, they're equally important. We need to go inside of ourselves, but at the same time understand the body is important, how we eat, what we put inside our body. Now, we need to understand that what we put inside of our body is very different for everyone. So someone was asking me recently, what keeps you young? Because I wrote a book for the myths around aging. How do you maintain a fulfilling life as you become older? Surprisingly, one of the things I mentioned was, what do you eat? Now, in Canada, if you're with the Inuit, I'm not going to be eating food from the Inuit family. That's not my favorite food. I will eat the food that is closest to my own heritage or the food that my mother made. So in many cases, someone from Japan is not going to eat something that's from Inuit in the north. And so if you can eat within your own, the foods that you feel most comfortable with will also help you in terms of your health and also how you feel. If you have some cashews, I brought cashews with me, and almonds, and I have them with me. And at the beginning this morning, everyone was wondering, what's this guy doing? He keeps taking nuts out of a bag, but that's what I want. I like to have some cashews. Helps me, and it's for me, but it doesn't work for everyone. So understanding what kind of foods we like to eat is very important. In terms of fulfillment, what does it mean to you to have a fulfilling life? Hands up. What does it mean to you in one particular category? Can you think of anything yourselves?
Fulfillment of life for me will be to achieve my goal.
To achieve your goal. Okay. Anyone else?
Harmony.
Harmony. Beautiful.
Peace of mind.
Peace of mind. Mhm.
Joy.
Joy. Good.
Congenial relationships.
Cordial relationships or congenial?
Congeniality.
Okay, good. Great. Great. Okay. Anyone else?
Try to achieve happiness wherever you can get and be positive always. Try to be positive always in all the circumstances.
So being happy and positive in whatever area you are and being happy in this moment, in the here and now. Okay, perfect. So when you think about happiness, we've been taught in our culture that we need to get a job, get a career, but real happiness comes in making someone else happy, isn't it? Whether it's your wife, your husband, a friend, a stranger. The happiest times are when we're thinking, how can I be of service to someone else? So, in understanding that who you are isn't your name, and that was beautifully said, knowing the difference between I am David and my name is David. You need to ask yourself, what are the inner qualities that you have that no one else has? What are the things you know can be of service to humanity that no one else has? Because we all have those inner qualities. There's certain things that I'm just not good at. I can either ask for help and guidance, or I can also say, well, I'm going to delegate. That's just not an area that I understand very well. I can understand maybe accounting principles and finance, but the real nitty-gritty details, I'm going to ask someone else. So those inner qualities are very important to know. What are you capable of doing? And what are you not capable of doing? And accepting those parts that you know you're not capable of doing. And not beating yourself up. The universe, when you think about the universe, how do you contemplate the universe? Do you ever ask yourself, how does a universe operate? You ever ask yourself that question?
Yes.
So how does it operate? You think about the ocean, it's constantly going every day. You're sleeping and it's still, in every second, there's another wave, another wave. It just keeps coming, the earth keeps spinning, and it just keeps moving. But when you think about it, even when you and I are gone from this planet, the universe is very impersonal. It just keeps moving. It doesn't stop. So in this moment, what are you planning to do today that'll make someone else happy? That will affect the humanity. Humanity, when you think of humanity, this is what I think. Humanity is very simple to please. It really is. If you really want to do a favor for the planet, don't try to change it. Change yourself. Go inside of yourself. Change you. Even though I'm human, I have these human qualities. Oh, I make mistakes every day. I may not publicize them every day, but I write them down and say, how can I be a better person tomorrow and even tonight than I was yesterday? Not, am I better than Bob? No, how can I be a better Peter? What can I improve in myself? Those inner qualities. Think of forgiveness. They've mentioned two things today. Forgiveness. The minute you forgive, you transcend all karma. Because you're living in the what? Here and now. You're not mentioning yesterday to your husband, because if you bring up yesterday, then you're no longer in the present. You're no longer in the here and now. You don't think about so much of what's going to happen in the future, because if you think too much into the future, then you become anxious. So what do you do to center yourself and to be in that meditative state, to go within and just listen? And do we listen every day? Have you noticed that your intuition is usually a whisper? It doesn't say, hey, buddy, come on, let's go. Doesn't say, it just says, psst, psst, hey, are you there? Are you there? It's whispering to you, but you're willing to listen to it. So the inner, I wanted to share this with anyone who here is concerned about the growing aging population in North America here. Are you concerned, or are you concerned about your own parents aging? Because, pardon me? Ourselves, right? Well, in this book, I've been now, it's about 15 years, I've been going to almost hundreds of senior homes and facilities. I've worked with different senior activity centers on the myths around aging, how to maintain your own power, how to make sure you have a living will, and as you get older, not to be abused as you get older. What I've noticed in a lot of cases of widows is that when a woman is on her own, now all of a sudden they don't believe that she understands construction, or she doesn't seem to understand how to fix the car. But in fact, I know plenty of women that do, but because of that disassociation between men and women do communicate differently, don't they? And how do they communicate differently? Can you say one?
Right brain, left brain.
Okay, that'd be one. Yeah, exactly. How about with boys and girls? Just start with the minimum. Boys and girls. Do we know how boys and girls communicate differently? So, I'll tell you something. The most successful mothers with boys are the ones that do activities with the boys, because they're active with them, because then they'll open up. Boys won't just sit in the chair and say, so, how was your day, son? Oh, it was good, Mom. That's it. That's a boy. But if you start playing soccer with him, if you start playing chess with him, you get, frisbee, whatever, he'll open up to you. I give you an example of an older gentleman. He's been married 50 years. I just saw him, at the Mission Senior Center in British Columbia. Now, 50 years, quiet as a whistle with his wife, loves his wife, adores his wife. Just incredible, but he doesn't say anything. Now, all of a sudden, my colleague, who's living in the senior center, he's from the US, who's now living in Vancouver, in Mission. It's in the valley of British Columbia. And he says, hey, I'm going to take you out. I'm going to show you a tractor, because he used to live in Saskatchewan. Well, you know that as soon as he got in the car, he couldn't stop talking. He was talking about the tractors and about what he used to do before and what kind of tractors and how it's been so different than, oh wow, the engines are so different than they were before. I mean, he just didn't stop. So it doesn't mean that he loves his wife, but how he chose to communicate was very different. My uncle was the same way. Go to a soccer game or hockey game, turns on the radio. Oh, we'll be late, that's okay. We're together anyway, just puts on the radio and we're listening to the game. And I'll always remember that he puts on the radio, we're always notoriously late for the hockey game, but at least we get there and we enjoy the time. So it's about enjoying the process with someone, not so much the cause and effect is some of the things that we don't seem to understand. We sometimes think that the cause and the effect are the same. For example, we think, oh, I want to make money. So we focus as that being. We think that is the actual effect, or cause and effect. Well, here's the problem. If you make money first, how can you proceed? But first you go within. Make the cause within, the universal consciousness, God. And then the effect is what? Money. Not the other way around. So that's a good idea of understanding fulfillment. What's my purpose? What are my qualities? What am I good at? How do I communicate differently than others? Am I effective in my communication? Do I understand how to communicate well with a man or a woman? Do I understand the differences in communication, even with elders and our subordinates? Do I understand how to communicate with children? Because there's different levels of understanding, of consciousness. There is the little boy who's 9 years old. He understands what's right for him. Then there's the teenager. He sees the world in his own way. And then there's the parents who see the consciousness in their own way. So where do we bridge that gap to understand each other? If each point of view is right, then how do we choose to understand the other person's point of view? Through compassion, through empathy. I'll give you an example of the forgiveness issue. There is the victim and the perpetrator. In both cases, the victim and the perpetrator, now the victim is hurt because something's happened to them, right? And the perpetrator also has to go through a process of, gee, I did something wrong, I feel terrible. Now, in order for them to meet in the middle, what do they both need to do? Both of them. Forgiveness. So the victim has to forgive the perpetrator, but also the perpetrator has to have some sort of regret and remorse for what they've done in order for them to forgive themselves. Now they can now ask that person, that victim, I'm sorry. But real sorry is, I'm sorry, but what can I do to make it better? Not just say, I'm sorry, because that continues the abusive cycle. I'm sorry, bang, again it happens. I'm sorry, bang, it happens. I'm sorry, bang, it happens. No, I'm sorry, what can I do to make it better? Just the other day, 3 days ago, I sent a text message to someone, and this person was offended. So the first thing I said in my message back, and I even called saying, I'm really sorry, but what can I do to make it better? You know what I was told last night? It says, 3 days ago when you said you were sorry, and what can you do to make it better? It completely diffused what had happened. It didn't matter what you said, but what you said after it's how you made me feel after. So it diffused the whole situation. So sometimes it's important to realize when you're sorry, you really say, okay, well, am I really sorry? Am I just saying it? Or what can I really think? What can I do to make this person's life better? And the minute we do that, we're no longer thinking about ourselves. We're so used to thinking, like I said, getting a job, getting a career, a wife or boyfriend or whatever, and we forget that how are we going to be a better service together than apart? How are we going to bring out the best in each other? Because real fulfillment between two is how you bring out the best in each other. But as these two minds work, remember, this is not the mind, we're talking about the brain. The brain is part of the body. We're talking about the universal mind, the mind of two people sitting there sharing ideas, and then all of a sudden, a third idea comes out of nowhere. Ever happened to you? All of a sudden, another idea comes. So where's that mind coming from? So when you go within and you share ideas, it's important to understand that just because the majority believes something doesn't mean that it's right. Real leaders, when they see that the herd is going in one direction, they'll go out the other direction. Even though they know, they'll say, what are you doing? You're crazy. Why are you going that way? Right? Einstein made it clear. Great spirits always encounter violent opposition by mediocre minds. What did Miss Roosevelt say one time about thoughts and ideas? She said, intelligent people, and I'm just paraphrasing, intelligent people share ideas. Average people talk about things. And stupid people or something talk about other people. Something like that. So, she was a smart cookie, wasn't she? She's my favorite. And Einstein, of course, and Ralph Waldo Emerson, which is well known. Just think about Ralph Waldo Emerson's quote that was mentioned just about an hour ago. Think about what lies before us and what lies behind us pales in significance of what lies within us. That's the key. If you go within, if you seek the wisdom that's within you, you'll always make it. A friend of mine that I met, you make friends in the most beautiful ways. When I met Bharat and Shailesh, it was just instant. It was like, I'm going to be friends, that they're soul friends forever. It just knew it. You know that I hardly went anywhere. Half the time I was just hanging out with them. Once Bob said, hey, let's go, we're going to do some things together, but we're still hanging out. It doesn't matter if we were at a restaurant, in the car, or it's about being present with people and being content with where you are. Can you be content with that? It's such a beautiful feeling, isn't it? When are you let me ask you, when are you the most content and fulfilled? When?
You live share the same ideas.
Share ideas, same
When
ideas.
there is no desire.
When there's no desire, so relinquish of attachment to desire. Well,
Wherever
remember,
you are, you are just present. Wherever you are just present there only.
Right.
And you are
When I can make others the same fulfillment.
pardon me?
When I can make others to experience the fulfillment,
The-
I will be the most fulfillment.
Yeah, and that's so beautiful, isn't it? Because when you can share your own level, your own vibration, your own conscious efforts of seeing love and God in each person, no matter where they are in life. The ability to have compassion for someone even though they're in jail. They have no family, no one's seeing them. But who has the compassion for the person who's sitting in jail? Are we thinking about them as well? No, if you look at jail culture, it's no different than North America. It's just on a smaller scale. But it's exactly the same.
We have periodically been visiting into the jail prisoners,
Yeah.
and we do interact with them in India. Quite often.
Isn't it interesting? Yeah. But you also see how it's exactly the same as the real world outside.
Better than the real world. Somehow.
Better than the real world.
They respond more heartily.
Yeah.
They respond really more heartily.
You got that? You know why? Because the majority that are in there, they're already feel regret and remorse for what they've done. So how far are we going to go to keep punitively putting someone down before we realize that they're going to break? We got to know, even in relationships, at some point, we got to just say, you know what? What is done is done. Because the minute you are condemning that person, you're not allowing them to grow and go beyond. Because if you condemn them constantly every day for what they've done, they have to perpetuate the same cycle, don't they? Oh, well, that's what you did. I'm just going to remind you again. Okay, you just keep reminding me, and I'm just going to keep perpetuating the cycle. Right? And they think, well, if I can just focus on the problem here and deal with this, then we will find a solution, right? And if you notice, the more you start talking about the problem, what happens? The problem seems to get even bigger. So in the solution, have we decided to seed the solution and then just wait? Be patient enough to say, I'm hurt, or patient enough to talk about it, then go your own way. Go for a walk. Go to the beach. Go spend some time with nature. When you start walking through the same path, you know when you know you're really awake? You start walking on the path, and you look up and you say, gosh, I never saw that tree that way. I've walked by here so many times and I've never seen it that way. It's in that moment that you are aware of how awake you are. That's true fulfillment, to be awake yourself. Because if you're not awake yourself, how can you be of benefit to others? In my book, Soul, I say very clearly that how can you really love someone else if you don't choose to love yourself? Now, don't confuse that with narcissism. Completely different. We're talking about self-respect, honoring ourselves, taking care of ourselves. So in the end, please take this thought with you. Forgiveness is transcended. You can transcend forgiveness through all forgiveness. When you choose to forgive, you transcend karma. I'll repeat that again, I'm so sorry. Once you forgive yourself and others, you will transcend karma. In my next quatilla, I've just wrote a trilogy. I'm writing 4 other books now. And it's about the lives of 4 very significant people and the journey in these novels that we go through. You think about Buddha, he came 500 years before Christ. And he even said there would be a man that would come that was a compassionate man. And so all of these fellows, the men who have walked this planet, and the ones that are alive today that we're honoring, they have something to share with us. Their love, their wisdom. And if we really listen to them, we can grow and we can share that to the next generation. Because humanity needs us. We're the new generation. And I'll leave you with this note. A friend of mine that I met out of nowhere, like I met Shailesh and Rob. Bob. This fellow called me. He says, Pete, having a problem. I says, what is worse? He says, oh, I can't make a decision for this. Da, 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 da. And he said a whole bunch of things. And all I replied was, Mars, seek the wisdom that's within you. Seek the genius that's within you. That was it. Thank you very much.
Well, that was very nice. And I do want to open up the floor to questions. And so we're going to take away 5 to 10 minutes for our next question and answer session.
Question?
What is the difference between intuition and the whisper that you mentioned? Is it the same thing?
Intuition and whisper?
Well, like a whisper within, is it the same as the intuition we have to do certain things? The wisdom and the intuition?
Yeah, understanding the difference. The intuition is also a part of you that's a passion. So knowing intuition is also passion that comes from you. So passion also has a lot of emotions and feelings. The whisper is more of almost an instinct. You know that you're supposed to go left and right. Are you saying, oh, my intuition is saying to go left? No, you're just going left. Instinct tells you to go left. Instinct is very different. Your whispering is instant.
Because
It's
I
the
just
sixth
read a
sense.
book called When God Winks at You.
Oh, wow, that's beautiful.
It's beautiful. And
Stop winking at
that-
me. Look at you.
And they were talking about the whisper,
Yes.
wink.
Yes.
So, because it's to God we relate from outside,
Mm.
and when we start relating from inside, isn't it the same whisper? So somewhere the intuition links with the whisper.
Well, what's so beautiful what you're saying is, think of it this way. When I started meditating, I understood that I was going within. But the chatter at that time, many years ago, it increases. But it also creates a sense of clarity to the point that you no longer need to do any more meditating. You're just in a meditative state at all times. And if you do it long enough, then you can transcend the whisper and the intuition as one and see the oneness in both.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I'm just kind of wondering, there is a significant difference between a soft whisper
Mm-hmm.
and a very loud, persistent voice. And we should be kind of wary of that, or should we not?
Oh, most definitely. Be aware of them and know the difference. But also you need to be aware of the environment that you're in when it's a loud voice and a whisper. A good example is a friend of mine, she was telling me during the war, World War II, she was in Japan and she took the train to go to Tokyo. She missed her train. When she arrived, all she found was the bodies of her family and friends and her boss, nothing else. Then she went to one corner and she felt, I shouldn't stay here. She left and all of a sudden another bomb was dropped. So that there, you're right. It's very true what you're saying. Knowing the difference between the two. Yes?
Okay. Do we ask questions just about your speak, or I can ask about
Oh, you can
earlier?
ask anybody.
I want a clarification about the term sympathetic versus a parasympathetic.
That was yours.
Parasympathetic
What's,
system.
yeah, I like to have clarification on the term sympathetic versus parasympathetic.
Oh yeah, that's just I'll try to make as simple as possible. See, right from our brain, throughout our, even up to the toe of the foot, the two types of nervous signals are going on, and there are two types of nervous system, voluntary and involuntary. So both the sympathetic and parasympathetic falls under the involuntary part of the system. So what happens, suppose there is some fear or something happens and some people collapse at the site. So that's a parasympathetic vagal stimulation. Some people have flight and fright, something is fearful and you start fighting and perspirating and something. That's a sympathetic system which is working. So just don't go into technicality. My idea was simple, that each small thing, whether it's well said, you are nice, I appreciate you, or I condemn you, whatever, is not just only here. It just works throughout the body through these two systems. That was my idea of conveying, but I can explain you in more detail in person because this is requires a little biological sort of background to understand that. But they are controlling everything in our body, minutest cellular level. That was my idea of saying, okay? So can we move on to the next session?
Okay, I think there's one more question there. One second. You got a question?
Who are the other two people that you're writing about?
This question to you, sir.
You're writing about 4 people who said about that.
Oh yeah, I'm writing about 4 people. Actually, they've already been written, and Moses, Muhammad, Buddha, and Jesus. And actually, the editor's working on it now, so we're looking at about August at this point. These ones are fiction, though. These are the trilogy I have here, the Inner Oracle, are non-fiction, body, mind, and soul.
Okay, great. And actually the book that he's mentioning that he read the excerpt out of is actually on the books outside, so you guys are welcome to scan those when we end our sessions. So our next is a workshop, and Dr. Mehta is going to lead us with our workshop on more peaceful and harmonious living.
We will, of course, deal with the questions in the last session. So before that, we have it's here, lift. So before that, let's travel a little bit. Mr. Peter did lead us to insight within that couple of moments so that we can experience something. At the end of the day, what matters is what I experience and what I can experiment myself, right? All the theory is well learned unless they give result. is just the theory for me. So, as it has been being taught since morning, forgiveness is very important. And Mr. Deepak Mistry did mention something that first part is why I should forgive myself and how I should forgive myself. I'll break it into two parts. First is forgiving myself, second is forgiving others, because both have different perspectives and need to be handled differently. First, why I should forgive myself. Of course, everybody knows that I don't want to continue with the guilt feeling or negativity or the burden, but how should I get it? Both of them have mentioned few things, and that's nice. But I think I can still add something more, and that's important. Because suppose I have done something wrong to Mr. Pramod. Fine, I'm saying sorry. I'm also saying what can I do better. But still, I need to do something more to clear myself of that particular mistake. What do we do, or what does the holistic science tells us to do is, number one, I should realize that this is my mistake. Most of the times, I argue in favor of that behavior. I'm not really ready to accept that it's a mistake. So first, it starts that I accept that, oh, this is my mistake, I should not have done it. Yes, despite my resolution and decision, the events come in the practical life, we do tend to make mistakes. That's fine. My opinion is not to do it, yet it happens. So what I would do? No sooner I realize, I would do that in the presence of Supreme Self or Pure Self or whom sir I am believing. See, each word is scientific. I'll explain you how. No sooner I remember for whom I have high reverence or regard, Supreme Self for me is the other one. So whatever was turmoil going on, or imbalance or rivalry or whatever was going on within my mind, with remembering him, it just settles down, becomes pure, starts becoming cool and calm. So then I go, with other words, I go to pure self within him, which is free of mind, speech and body, his name and name belonging attachments and all the karmic bonds. Why do I say that? Because no sooner again, if I see his personality or prakriti, my mind may start agitating. So I am seeing the pure self, which is totally free of mind, speech, body, name belonging attachments and all the karmic bonds. And I confess that I have hurt you, I should not have done that. This is three parts confession. I declare as it is, I go in the moment, okay, this has happened like that, I confess that, I apologize for that, I resolve not to do it again. And give me the inner strength so that I will not repeat this mistake again. Resolution as well as asking for inner strength not to do it again. And I would certainly add what he has said, how can I heal him? Now, two pertinent questions come so many times from the audience. Should we go and say on face? Should we do it with him? If you have the inner strength, if you feel that the other person is straightforward, he will take it positively, you can go and say. But what happens frequently is, suppose once I have said him, second and third time, he will throw at my face. Every time you are doing the mistake and every time you are saying me sorry. Especially household scenarios, husband or wife, parents and children. So here what happens? Even though I am doing from within, first of all, as a scientific process, I am getting away, opinion-wise, as well as I am getting rid of burden of that mistake. So my normalcy comes back, my harmony comes back, I regain my inner happiness or I get free from that mistake, no sooner I start doing it. Secondly, our cell phones are reaching to the other end of the globe right now. So this powerful vibrations in presence of my pure conscious does go and affect the other person, and the other person's mind also gets corrected. And there are n number of examples to prove this. I will just quote a very brief story. Just last week I was at San Antonio. One of the holistic inner science practitioners, lady, was sharing with me, in her young age, her husband sent her to India with 2 young kids and was not calling her. Now, luckily, the lady was introduced to holistic inner science, the husband was not, unfortunately. But that this was a hard time for her, all said and done, real self and other things. So what she started and what she was suggested to do these 9 codes of conducts and this confession, apology, resolution process, which she continued for 3 continuous days. Just she would take the time out for her basic necessities, eat and other things, do continuously the same thing, heartily. 4th day the phone came from the husband without her telling anything to husband, please come, they are living happily right now. So the consensus of the story is this is a real scientific process. Otherwise, I just say that I forgive myself. But how can I forgive myself for my wrongdoings? I have to clear it up correctly. So once I do it correctly, not only I'm clearing myself, but it's reaching to the other person's mind also gets corrected most of the times immediately, if not over a period of some time. Now the most important question is, how can I forgive others? Yes, it's well if I can forgive, I will immediately be free of the burden or remorse or whatever, and the other person will. But so many times, at least it was not easy for me, and probably it's not becoming easy for many minds. I want to forgive other person, but he has done me wrong, he has hurt me, how can I forgive? So here, apart from that, my decision to forgive, probably as Deepakanandji said, the understanding the natural laws, how the natural universal system is functioning comes to my help. And here I want to know, is anybody independent to really help me or hurt me? It seems very simple that somebody has hurt somebody and somebody has helped somebody. But if you try to understand the universal system, can anybody really independently help or teach anybody? If it is so, nobody would allow us to live. But it's not. It's only my atomic and molecular configuration which I have brought, which is due to give me results from time to time, both ways, positively as well as negatively. So when the positive atoms and molecules are giving the results, I do receive unexpected help from unknown people also. And when the negative atoms and molecular configuration are due to give result, in nature it attracts the instruments. So ones who are appearing to give me pain or pleasure are no more than mailmans in the scheme of nature, and we never blame the mailman for putting n number of posts in our post box, 2 are pleasurable and 2 are painful, right? I know this is difficult to understand, but believe this is from the holistic inner science, as he is saying, when they see from the top of the mountain, not only they see everything within them, but they see everything, how the universe is being governed. And that's how this has come. So, second thing is, whatever has happened is just incorrect. Because so many times after the event may be up to 5 minutes, but our after effects last for sometimes hours, months, years together. Why it happened? Why to me? How to me? What could have been done and what not? So the simple thing is, you try your best. Drive your car with open eyes, with all care, caution and ability, whatever you have. But sometimes it happens that despite everything, something may go wrong. And then say that it is nature's play. Either way, it may be saved, it may be. Because there is a very accurate natural science, the time doesn't allow us to discuss that. I have another presentation, Secrets of Human Life, but that we reserve for personal discussion, because the present time doesn't allow us. But believe that the whole universe, it is said that injustice can be there in human courts and by humans. There is no injustice in the scheme of nature, even for a fraction of a second, for a fraction of a molecule or atom. So I have to try my best, and then after whatever has happened, I have to see that it is just in kind. So these sub-natural understandings will allow me, will give me the inner vision to take as the things are unfolding before me, and really that vision itself will keep me positive. Positivity is not something against negativity. It is correctness and exactness of understanding life and life experiment and the scheme of the universe. So this was, I think, I could share. Now there are various ways of meditation. This is going a big way. Some people say sit with closed eyes and watch your breath. Yes, it's a good beginning because you are trying to, as I said, bringing back the wandering reflective consciousness within you. When you try to watch breath, what is happening? You are trying to bring back your wandering reflective consciousness and trying to keep it a little focused. So it has some relation with the mind. Your mind may calm down a little bit, but not totally. But it's a good beginning. Then there is a transcendental meditation, Sahaj Marg, Sammarco meditation, Vipassana. As I understand, every meditation primarily tries to bring wandering reflective consciousness in. That is beginning. But as he rightly said, it's not a end of the story, it's the beginning of the story. And as he mentioned, meditation state has to be a continuous state. It is a state of being with open eyes, 24/7 into 365. And one can be either of the state. There are 4 types of state of being. Either it can be self-disturbing, Artha Dhyan, which we really don't want at the end of this seminar. But something may be disturbing me. I'm not revealing, I'm not retaliating, but I'm worried, I'm anxious, I'm not feeling good at something. Artha Dhyan, it may be disturbing to others, rage reactions, Raudra Dhyan. As against that, we are aiming for inner harmony, equipoise, equanimity, love, forgiveness, whatever, it's a Dharma Dhyan. And if you still want to go higher, pure state of being, that is a Shukla Dhyan. And once I know who am I will be in this state. So it depends on belief, vision and understanding of relative as well as real. The way your belief and understanding develops, it goes on improving. With incorrect understanding, you will be in the first 2. With the correct, you will be in the 3rd. And with the ultimate understanding, you will be in the 4th. Now, as I said, yoga. Again, a big way. There are so many yoga studios going on. And that's good. So, but the purpose of yoga is restrained, wandering, reflective consciousness. I have already said, second basic purpose is to know and join with the pure self. And the third purpose of yoga is harmony and balance, that is samatva, in all different situations within and without. Now we have to see how many we are achieving by doing the yoga. As I feel asanas are good for body. Continue doing it, whosoever are doing. Yes, it's required. Breathing is somewhat good for pranayama, means pranayama somewhat good for mind. But as I said, still a long way to go. Because Patanjali has said 8-faceted yoga. Who is talking of Yam? Yam has 5 aspects, Satya, Ahimsa, Achaurya, Aparigraha and Brahmacharya. Nobody talks because nobody can do it. But ultimate is Atma Yoga, and the holistic science may give you a simple way to achieve the purposes or results of yoga in a much simpler way. So if everybody agrees, we can take 10 minutes out, as he said, to meditate.
Yes.
But which way? So there can be any way, as he said, just be with yourself. You can be neutral observer, just no worries here. Just see whatever is happening within. You are sitting, your back says straighten up, your limb says whatever. But mainly if you go ahead of that, something going on within your heart, mind, reflective consciousness going here and there, time is up, I have to go, whatever. But that is to be known and seen, and I am the knower and seer. That is part 1. Because the basic of meditation is to be in your own nature. And my own nature is to know and to see, to be aware. Be aware means to know and to see of whatever is happening. And right now when we close eyes, we'll be seeing within, or somebody by side of us, or some noise, whatever. When we are out, we can be aware of whatever. And second part is, if you feel like you can simultaneously have the cleansing process. So I'm seeing. When I'm seeing, something may come over. I had bad event with Prabhupada. Memory may come to me. I immediately will go ahead and clean that up. I go to pure self within him and I beg pardon for him and decide not to do it again. So you can also decide to have both. When you are seeing, you are in the meditation state. Second part, you are cleaning. Whatever relations you have, some difficulties, some bad memories, some bad events, to and fro, you can decide to clean that up. Just see the pure self within other person, say that I am sorry or I beg pardon for my misdeed, decide not to do it again, please give me the understanding so I will not do it again. And what can I do? So it is not a singular process unless this relative part gets free from the mental baggages or whatever impressions are being remaining over here of to and fro misdeeds. I cannot remain in my pure consciousness very steadily or very well. So both has to go hand in hand. On one side, I try to remain with my aware, with my conscious as knower and seer. And second side, this has to be cleaned up. So I say that is a cleansing process of guilt and mistakes with my relations, or cleaning the inner obstacles or whatever is bugging me. People say that there is a virus in computer, but there are bugging viruses within also, in the form of we cannot forget somebody having done something to us 5 years back, 10 years back, 15 years back. The wife will say that the husband has done this to me 15 years back. So that's still bugging me. So we can clear that up, or whatever things which are affecting me adversely. These are the steps. All the steps are not to be taken simultaneously. This just to understand. But at your state of being, whatever you can, and ultimately we go to opinions or prejudices or something. So what I'm trying to say is, on one side I'll be trying to remain as knower and seer, just a neutral observer. On the second side, if it comes on the side of Prakriti or relative self, if it happens, I'll keep on cleaning the things. So two things will happen simultaneously, and it will make me lighter, more happier, more positive. And knowing the pure self, we have already said by qualities. So on one hand, you try to be with you as your pure self. On the other hand, purification of the relative self occurs. This is what I have understood, and I have been practicing, or we have been practicing from the holistic inner science perspective. So shall we do it for 10 minutes? Okay. We just have a small prayer for getting focused to our own inner self. O Supreme Self, O Pure Self, please give us the strength to remain as knower and seer, to remain in my pure awareness state of being, and just know and see all the happenings within and without, along with whatever mistakes, past memories, or bugging things which are seen, give us the inner strength that we can clean it up by confession, apology, and resolution. Jai Satchidanand. So, in the last 30 minutes, if somebody wants to share the feedback about whatever experience this 7-8 minutes gave, we can do that. This is last would be an informal session of for remaining questions, all of 3 to the panelists, as well as some feedbacks, inputs, everything. So that will be really, I would say, not open, heart-to-heart session. So that is there. And before I leave this, just a small thing which I further wanted to share is what happened to us in our journey. We felt that it's good we can have wisdom and we can travel and can reach certainly certain state of being. But this human life experiment is so mysterious and so deep that sometimes to reach to the core of being, there are certain veils of ignorance or some karmic bonds that are scientifically there, which do not allow us to be like that or to practice that awareness all throughout. For us it happened that the holistic scientist came as an instrumental big help who could shatter open those karmic ignorance veils and can see us or make us see through an experience, not only doubtless conviction, but can make us experience, and then it became a self-functioning awareness. So I don't know, but any of you, but this was a small thing which I thought can share you, because this goes beyond words. Of course, it can take us to certain heights, and the journey is a journey. And the second thing, as she was asking, that mind, body, speech harmony is difficult to achieve. But as he rightly said, understanding today, the correct thing is step 1. Plant the seed. Have the understanding which will make you to go for decision or projection. Rest of the things is a journey. But unless I start my journey, the journey never is there. So start of journey is sometimes said, suppose I left Mumbai and somebody asks, where has he gone? So somebody would reply, he has gone to Chicago. Yet I have just started my journey. Still the people say he has gone to Chicago, he has gone to USA. Because he is to reach there, because he is in a correct plane, correct way, correct direction. So start with the correct understanding, and it's a process. Keep on in a touch. See, this 1-day seminar or half-a-day seminar for those who are just getting introduced is not going to solve all. It's a wonderful introduction to the journey. The journey has to be continued by various ways, remaining in touch with wherever the activities are going on, whosoever are practicing it, whosoever has some experience into it, by way of audio visuals, technologies at our rescue, and so many things. But if I have the decision, nay, this is good, I want to have it, I want to continue with this experience, everything will come my way. If I just leave it here and now, then I think it's all. So thank you, and we are open for the last session. Question, answers, and heart-to-heart and feedbacks.
If anybody got questions, please raise their hands so I can give you a mic. One second.
The question you asked, also from whom you want the answer, please give the name of the person out of those 3 speakers.
Okay, please raise your hand so I can bring the mic to you. No questions? This is a wonderful opportunity. You're going to get it from mouth to mouth, from right from the mouth. So this is time to answer questions. So please don't hesitate.
Well, you can share also.
Yeah.
The feedbacks can be part of the session.
Oh, one second.
Earlier, you had mentioned everyone is correct by their viewpoint. And it was again stated just now about basically there was no mistakes. And I'm confused about that. because I'm thinking that if I'm trying to be open and loving and understanding with somebody, but I see somebody that is hateful and maybe violent, and I don't understand how that is just and correct. So if you can explain that sort of thing to me.
A very good question. So when I'm saying this, there are two viewpoints of looking at the things. From the relative point of view, from the worldly point of view, I say do your best to best of your care, caution, abilities and understanding, whatever. So I'll try to deal with a person, improve, persuade, whatever, in best possible way. Now, suppose after having tried everything, something happens to me, right? How to take it? Okay, if it's not compulsory for me to cling to that person, if it is just bypasser, but suppose he may or she may be my family member, I cannot avoid, and I have to deal with the person. So after having tried everything, I ask myself, why that he or she has happened, or how we have come in connectivity, right? And there is a whole universal system that whatever atoms and molecules I have got with me, and in the journey of life, I have given some opinions with attachment or aversion. So long as I am not fully aware, so long as I am not fully knowledgeable, it spontaneously happens that I bind with the people either by attachment or by aversions. And those are going to come back to me to square up my accounts of atoms and molecules. So when they are coming up to me, after trying everything, I have to understand from within that it is my own account. That is part one. Part two is, so let's take back some situations. Supposing we go back to India. And in India there was a time when the lower castes or tribes were considered as untouchable, or they were made to do some work which no humans will agree, right? Now, if you look at today's scenario, there is a reservation and they become promoted fast and they become the boss of these people. Now, these people are complaining that why unjustifiable promotion to them. But in the nature, if it is corroborated that some injustice was done by these people to them, this is being squared up. So it is said that the whole give and take relations entire, if it is to be understood, it is only in two sentences. Whatever was lent comes back. And if you look the interactive, interconnected dealings, justice is just to understand how much justice or injustice was done by me to others. When it comes back, our intellect is seeking for justice. But if I understand this secret rule, then I come to know that, okay, this is the rule. But I am not here to say that somebody has done a murder, and in a worldly viewpoint, I will say he is right. But in nature's scheme, I will understand that how the two things are happening. That's how I know this is very subtle part of understanding, but just I put a glimpse of it so that it provokes us to understand. Because I put a question, is anybody independent to kill or save somebody? Independent, I am using the word independent. If it would have been so, the whole thing would have been a mash or chaos. It is not like that. It is when the time of some person is ready, some creature, to go away or to stay, that one who has done such projections, nature connects the two people. How we are together today. Your some inner projections that will hear something good, and our inner projections will share something, not knowing each other, nature has brought us together. Right? So this is a little deeper part, but as I said, I had a third presentation which due to the limitation of time I cannot go over. But this is how, once we understand how the natural system is working, then we have the ready answer for this. This is just keep at the back of the mind. It may not be completely comprehensible at the moment, but this is how it works. Please.
One second.
On that note, that's what I want, a further elaboration, because we understand what goes wrong comes wrong. you, the things I saw a graph explains that. I don't know if you saw that graph, the graph to depict how what goes around comes around. Have you seen that picture? Because I don't quite understand that graph. I just wonder if you've seen that picture, if you can explain how that, coming from out of here, then goes around and then comes back. Because that graph is so complicated, I couldn't understand. I wonder if you've seen it, if you can explain.
Sure. Before I answer, I'll ask if these two people want to answer that.
Yeah, if anybody can answer that. Because,
Like to answer that, please.
My friend and I, we went to, 3 weeks ago, we spent some time at the Beverly Hills Hotel for 4 days because he's moving to back east. And we were sitting in the car, and he decides after having a nice lunch that he's gonna burp. I mean, really burp. It was so bad. The stench stayed in the car for the whole minute or two. I tried to roll down the window, and it just stayed right in front of me, like a fart. It was terrible. I said to him, "Wires, what have you done? It just doesn't move." So, after that, we'll get to the point. We go to his hotel room. We had a room side by side. I went into his room. I sit down, and beside his bed, there's this like little couch area, and I fart. And he looks at me and he says, "Yeah, truly, what comes round goes round." So that's about as simple as I can explain the story to you.
Basic principle is whatever causes are laid, they get effected out. So this is nothing but the basic principle of cause and effect only.
If I'll try to answer this from different perspective. See, what happens is our whole human life, as I said, it's a unique ongoing live experiment where there is a pure conscious, but it's not only pure conscious, it's a whole macro and the conglomerate, and I am there, I'm name bearer, and I'm doer is working. So what happens is whatever is going outside broadly has two things. Either I am helping, making somebody happy, either I am hurting someone. So that positivity or negativity is bound with the projections going out. Now, not only it is going out, like I have aptly said that even before it goes out, it does have effect right and here now, as an inner effect of the same thing. Right here now only. Positivity, it does affect me positively, negativity does affect me negatively. Second thing, during that process of inner state of being, I am drawing atoms and molecules from outside like the electromagnetism, and they get stored within in the form of causal body. And whenever they are going to be affected, they also get linked to the natural regulatory system. So when the time is right, it's not that the same thing comes, no, some or other way. If it is to be helping and when it is due, some sort of pleasurable experience comes to me. Not exactly the same that I gave him $5 and he gave me $5. No, it cannot be as simple. But with whatever intent I have done, some or other positivity will come to me at some or other time. That is what we are talking of future. Wherever some hurt, I was right. I did with good intention, but still he was hurt. So that onus has come to me. So whenever it is due, something will come to me back. But in some or other different forms. So broadly speaking, there are two categories, painful and pleasurable. And it's being distributed within the two.
What is it? Two what? Two what?
Two categories, either painful or pleasurable. Painful or pleasurable. Uncomfortable or comfortable. Broadly, it can be divided into two. But leave aside future. I am saying right here and now. No sooner I am trying to say you are a nice person, my face becomes smiling. No sooner I am trying to say him you are a stupid, my face becomes frown. Why to talk of when it will come round? Right and here it comes round within. before even it goes out. That's my real is to say that right and here it affects you.
Do you have a book or an article dedicated to the subject of forgiveness, apology, and resolution?
Well, not really the full book as of now, but will certainly come out in near future. But in a given book, there is a small chapter on it.
Which book is that?
Holistic Science and Integral Living or something else. I'll just see and pick it up for you.
Okay.
But since you have brought this up, we will definitely do it. Because what happens is the entire process in presence of holistic scientists, it just went on informal, one-to-one, in the form of question answers rather than dedicated lectures. So with different people, it just came out and it has to be compiled and put in proper order. We do have some part of it, but I understand your inquisitiveness and whatever available I'll give you right now, otherwise I'll make it for you. Give me the email address very shortly, as quickly as possible, I'll try to make it for you.
And on your website, is there some discussion dedicated to this topic?
Not as of now.
Okay.
Not as of now.
Thank you.
This question is again related to my previous question concerned with that. It is body, mind and speech. It is connected with this sthul body, means you can say relative body. And the real is sthul, suksham. Suksham means which is not visible to the eyes. So going to that, realizing to that suksham body in Hindi, and which is
So
real.
when you complete your question, I understand you.
Yeah.
Complete your question.
Reaching to that real, realizing that real with this and making the equilibrium within this mind, body and speech, which is the, so many times I feel really difficult to go to that, I can distinguish it, but it is really difficult to go to that understanding that thing. So, but I want to know if you can help me out.
Yeah, sure. As I said, it starts with correct understanding. If you say I had already laid down the part 2 bhavanas, 9 codes of conduct, confessions, that is known as 5 sat sadhanas. Short, brief, taking your 15-20 minutes or something which you can do as a daily thing, which keeps you cleaning, preaching, enriching from within. So that's what I suggest. I can explain you later on one-on-one also. As I said, 2 projections, 9 codes I had here.
We have
Can-
outside.
yeah, that's a small folder. So these small things start. Second thing is, once the inner transformations occur, if you see most of the lack of harmony even at the level of body or speech, as I said, what is there behind it? Because I want for me and mine. And that me and mine now is getting transformed, that there is no other in the world for me. Because before helping others, I am being helped out. Before making others, I am being happy. Before hurting others, I am getting hurt. So if I really see, right now, people can say that you and me are different. But I feel you and me are connected in all walks. Not only by conscious, by even relative dealing wise. So when my understanding starts telling me, it automatically starts becoming harmonious, because that distracting, driving forces of ignorance starts vanishing out. Anger, greed, pride, deceit, everything, wrong beliefs. But what you are looking at is a result. You cannot look at the final result at the start of your journey. That's the ultimate goal of your journey. Just start the journey, be on the journey. So that's what you are looking is at the ultimate aim, right? Even we are in the journey. We have not reached the final destination. But we have the confidence and we have the inner heart saying we'll reach it. But if anybody wants to add, I'll give it to them.
But they say only the enlightened person, the only who has got this, they can help you out in this journey of yours.
That's what
Of course,
that's what I said. I'll definitely help you. To some extent, I had put it over there. One-on-one, I can tell you the more details. Right?
with the blessing
Looking to
of-
the larger interest of the people, we can certainly highlight onto that. So if it is to be still abbreviated and concisely, I would say, number one, correct understanding, keep it reinforcing, glimpses of which we have given right now. Number two, 5 satsadhanas, understand and do it. Number 3, have a sincere hearty desire to know who am I, and for that to meet some enlightened person who can be an instrumental help. And if you happen to be fortunate to have that, then 5 simple precepts. This is a simple road. Understanding 5 satsadhanas to know who am I, and 5 simple precepts. Very simple road that can take you to the ultimate. That's
so
my
much.
vision.
Thank you so much for this, because it is the blessing of Kanu Dada, which we are all blessed, and because of him, I think we are fortunate one to have come across and know what is real and relative, and we are trying, we have started. Let us see hope for the best.
So yeah, so if you have been fortunate to have that vision, understand, try to practice 5 precepts that will take you to the ultimate.
1 second, I'll be there.
Anybody wants to add? Deepak Anandji and Mr. Peter, we are one, and anytime anybody can add, we are informal, heart to heart right now. So there's no formality. Anybody can pip in and yes, spontaneously add or respond or something. Yeah, I'll be very, very happy to see that. Please.
Can you please help me to stay on the path of detachment with love?
Oh, yeah.
Peter had mentioned that the opposite of love is fear. I do understand that. I'm trying very hard to practice detachment with love, but I keep on slipping.
No, I understood.
What is the holistic view? And
Very
what
good
the
question. Very good question. First of all, let me define that the love, what is love from holistic inner science perspective. People have been perceiving, experiencing or defining love differently. Simple definition of holistic inner science is one which is free of conditions and expectations. So it has to be free of waxing and waning. So what happens, as it has been happening with us, I understand that on one side you are trying to remain detached. So how to love with detachment? Very good question. Detachment means what? First of all, my mind, body, speech, whatever is going on within. Detached means I am not pushing it away. I am neutrally seeing it, being aware of it. So I am not identifying myself with that, but I am seeing awareness. That is my inner detachment. Suppose I am with Prabhupada. So what is mine? Rather than looking at the relative things, I see pure self within him. So these 2 visions, relatively is Prabhupada, really his pure self. And now this gives me a broader perspective. Seeing the pure self, seeing him in totality, I am not bothered by what is being done on a relative plane, good or bad, according to my expectations or not expectations. So to me, the love really starts flowing more and more. I also remain with my pure self or whatever, and I also see the pure self in others. So that serves the both purpose to me.
So, usually my angle is that if I'm non-judgmental
Yes.
to the other person
Yeah, that's true.
and to myself,
Yeah,
so I'm just practicing that,
that's good.
keeping the judgment out.
No, that is good. That's really good. That's fine. But I say that still it goes beyond that. It goes beyond that to my mind. Yes, it's very good to be non-judgmental. It starts from there. It's very good. But I think it goes beyond that.
And
I can be non-judgmental and still I can be aloof. This says it is not aloofness. It is interconnectedness as oneness.
If I'm staying in love, that aloofness will not be like
That's what I'm saying. For the benefit of everybody, I understood your point very well. So it is oneness from within. And somebody asked me, okay, at the level of pure conscious or pure self, you can feel one. How can you feel on a relative plane of living? And my answer was, it came to me that because whenever I'm dealing with you, as I say, whatever actions of my mind, body, speech which are going to make you happy, make me happy first. Whatever my actions of my mind, body, speech which are going to hurt me. So even in a relative living, I'm interconnected. And as Mr. Peter was rightly saying, okay, we condemn others, we try to, but believe me, before condemning others, if I have learned the first lesson, the holistic science taught us, try to look within at each moment, and I will immediately realize I'm not condemning them, I'm condemning myself. And that solves the problem, right? So that's how it works.
Hello, I have a question about forgiveness. What if somebody hurts you, either emotionally, verbally, and you forgive them, but they don't know it, or they keep doing it, and they don't forgive you, and you cannot get out of that situation? What do you do in that state? I mean, you forgive them, but then you keep, Peter, maybe anyone can help. Please.
Okay, there are two aspects to the story. Number one aspect is, we are getting affected off and on by outer situations, by behavior of the other people and other things. I'm answering from different perspectives before coming to the exact point. Now, my question is, suppose we are all seeing a TV, a large LCD monitor, would you like to give remote to others or would you like to keep it you? So why to give remote of life to somebody else? It's my choice to really become upset or not upset. How somebody can make me upset or not upset from distance? So I think you'll agree with me, it's my inner choice. So once or twice. So second important message, rather than handling the situation outside, I try to handle the situation within. So whatever he is doing is not my problem. Whatever is occurring within me is my problem. And with holistic science visions, once I know how to deal within, I am unaffected even if somebody wants to affect me. So first I will seek my inner clarity, my inner state of being, which remains clear, whatever the other person wants to do me. So that gives me the strength, inner strength, to sail across all different types of situations, right? And then secondly, as I said, I'll do the pratikraman. Most of the times it works and the other person's mind does change. Even if it doesn't change, I'm not bothered, because I have the inner strength within me. And the third thing, as he's rightly said, I will add in my prayer, which I'm already doing, I will pray for welfare of him or her first. I'll definitely pray for common good or welfare of that particular person. That gives me the extra strength, and my positive vibrations do go and work in the nature, right? Okay. Please add.
Yeah, I just wanted to add on to that about also attachment. If you looked at the brochure, or detachment, is any tree detached from its roots? No. So as humans too, we need to understand that every tree is held by other roots. You go to some of the forests in California and British Columbia, you know why some of the winds are destroying all of these forests? We've taken down so many trees that there's no more roots to hold on to all the trees. So there is a point of detachment, yes, but in therapy we're taught, psychology, you should be detached from your client. How can I really be detached from my client? In fact, it's working through me to know how I can be of service to my client. So it's very important to remember that as well.
One more dimension to that, as he was talking, comes to me. I have to remain somewhere. I cannot be in none. So detaching from relative means I'm attaching with the real of mine as well as with others.
Okay, due to the time factor, we have about 5 more minutes, so please, if you've got any questions.
We'll give to Vijay Bhai for whatever his remarks are.
We'd like to hear from you this morning about the session and your thoughts, whether you learned something or you like to learn more about it, and how we can arrange the session. The floor is open for comments. Anybody volunteer wants to say?
Can you do it more than once a year?
Well, that's why I'm asking, that we're taking suggestions from you. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I'll give you one.
He's giving.
Oh yeah, the sessions are wonderful, and everything which we need to hear, we are hearing. Now, question comes is how to practice. I would really like you to give the guidance how we can increase our inner strength so our insecurity goes down. If you can write some articles, books on that and email us, oh my gosh, it would really help. See, when we are insecure, all the negativity shows up in our dealings with friends, acquaintances. So that needs to go down, competition, jealousy, catty pettiness and all that will go down further, faster. So it will be really helpful if we can concentrate on, because openly hardly anyone talks about it, but I don't want to be the bad lady to do that. But yes, we need to work on reducing our insecurity. That will help. Thank you.
And I'd like to share something real quick.
Sure.
1 second.
Yeah, go ahead.
And in the end, and in a nutshell, I just wanted to say something that I thought about it. It doesn't really matter what other people think about us. What's more important is what do we think of them and ourselves. So keep that in mind. It doesn't really matter what other people think, their opinions, but what do we think of them? And that'll affect the consciousness of humanity as well.
A request, there are so many thoughts for the day roaming around on the internet. Can you give us a thought for the day or a whisper or a wink, whatever you want to call it, and have the email addresses, and people who are interested can sign up? That will really help us to ground ourselves in the morning and go from there.
You have something?
Yes, of course. You said you wanted our email addresses, or?
No. We want some guidance.
Of course.
Just a thought for the day.
Yeah, definitely.
How to start the morning, just to ground ourselves and start the day, which we are already doing, but it would help.
I
As
think
I
one.
mentioned before, a wink or a whisper would help
Right, something that we would give you just right now, just a little
on a daily basis
on a daily basis.
from Holistic Inner Science Center.
Okay. Do you want to say something? I think one of the most important things we've said right from the beginning is forgiveness and understanding. How are we willing to forgive ourselves and others in the process? But also to take it that further, that other step further. Do we understand how the universe work? You exist here on this planet like everyone else. Yet at the same time, you're also one with everyone else. You can't be detached from it. But third, also, it's important to understand that what you put out there is what you get back. But in these three universal laws that I've just mentioned, those three don't, everything else in the world is changing, but those three laws aren't changing. The fact that you are on this planet and that you exist, you'll always exist. You're here in this moment. The fact that we're all one, that's the truth. We're all one. The fact that what you put out there is what you get back, those laws will never change. And everything around you is changing every day. But those three laws never change. What comes up has to come down, understanding the gravity of the laws. So it's important to start contemplating in your mind every day, how does the universe actually operate? Because it's not just understanding the thinking and the cognitive thinking, it's understanding and appreciating the universe as a wholeness, as a oneness, as a truth that exists within each one of us. And that experience is very different for each one of us. We can't explain it to anyone else. It would be like me trying to explain a type of fruit that you've never eaten. I can't possibly explain to you what it tastes like if you haven't tasted it yourself. So your experience is very independent and private.
If you want to experience that divinity, the holistic science, what it has prescribed, we talk of that, but that prescription medicine needs to be taken every day. So the best thing every morning, when you get up, you just remember whoever you worship and decide, make a firm decision. I don't want to hurt anyone through my thoughts, through my speech, through my actions. If just it remains in your head, it won't work. It's a medicine you have to take, what I believe. Thanks a lot.
So, summing up everything, it's a good suggestion that it's coming from you that it should be more frequent. My reply to it is threefold. Number one, can we make it much longer? We can have 2 days retreat. Why not? And you will have a much longer time. But unless the assurance and interest comes from you, we are all ready at the middle of the night. That's part one. Part two, technology is at our help. Whenever, wherever we are sitting, we can get connected with little prior adjustment. Google Hangouts, Skype and everything is at our disposal. Believe me, it's not something material, but this is an instrument which can connect us very readily and reinforce the things in these things. Reinforcement is also required. So, and the emails also, you can have our emails, cards are here, we can have your emails, and we can certainly start doing right and here now. So that's all three suggestions are very valid, and I'm really happy to hear from you coming up, right? So that's good. And as you said, everybody may have a little different, but in the morning, if you reinforce your resolutions, as I said, two main, as you said, let my mind, body, speech, don't limit it not to hurt, but make it, if it can make one another happy to the extent possible. And second, I want to know who am I, or I want to remain with my true identity. These two, then there are 9 codes, and I say 5 sadhans, little bit of inspirational reading here and there. But most important, I would add is, in the evening, take out 5 to 10 minutes before retiring to bed to review your whole day, how your day has gone on the level of awareness or on the level of relative living. That would give you the wonderful scope not to progress or understand more, but to clean up and keep our journey progressing. So resolution in the mornings, review in the evening, be in touch. Believe me, if it is your hearty desire, you will get much more than what you expect.
Membership.
No, that's already. Yeah, you can become the members of Holistic Science. Please visit our registration desk. And I have a few announcements that, like Dr. Mehta said, that the holistic inner science is a continuous process. It's not just that we learn in a one session. And for that, we have a small group here at the Laguna Woods. We meet twice a month on a second and a fourth Tuesday. Those who are not coming to that group, you are most welcome. And this Tuesday, Dr. Mehta is going to be there from 3 to 6, so you'll get a chance to ask him one-on-one questions. And also he's here for next 6-7 days until 26, and he's got a session every day in the evening from 5 to 7, and tomorrow from 1 to 6 at Sanatan Temple in Norwalk. So there also, all of you, those who are aspirant about the holistic science, can come and visit us there. I thank you very much today coming here and supporting us, and entire our team of holistic science. Thanks everyone, and please join us in the future for the another session. And I thank our panel of speakers, and especially Peter, as coming from Vancouver here, visiting us and spending time. And some of the concepts that today we presented, that you incorporate it in your writings and future.
Yes, thank you.
one last single sentence. Actually, at Holistic Science Charitable Research Foundation, one of the aim or purpose is if the like-minded people, positive people get together, we can make wonders in the world, starting with the smaller things. So most welcome, and there is no group, no barriers, no bars. Anybody, to the extent, all are welcome.
And lastly, there is a lunch being served right now, so please enjoy. Thank you for coming.